So I'd like to call the December 16th, 2021 LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District order. Please stand for the pledge.
Recording in progress.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right. Jennifer, can you do roll call for us, or?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Mitch Bishop,
Here.
did you say here? Sorry.
Yeah, here.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Delia Zagas?
Present. Present.
Amanda Laners?
Here.
John Carr? Mark Danielson?
Present.
Marcelia Kunstig? Jerry Jackson? Okay, we have 4 out of the 7. We have a quorum, I believe, and then when Jerry shows up, we'll just need to mark the time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks. Moved on then, approval of minutes in the packet that Jennifer sent via email. There was the November 18th meeting minutes. Everybody get a chance to look through those. Any questions? If not, I entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mark and second by Amanda for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Public comments. Anybody wishing to speak needs to state their name and address for the record. And you will have 3 minutes to speak.
I'll try to do it faster.
Thanks.
Gary Radke with Radke Engineering and Surveying, 5821 North US 35, LaPorte, Indiana. We are now in the last phase of, excuse me, of the memorandum of understanding. Finally, at the last phase, which is the agreement phase, to transfer the low-pressure sewer system on 22 Michigan City Sanitary District. It's been an interesting project with a lot of challenges. Phase 4 is the agreement phase, which for the sewer district, basically, it's getting a agreement to allow Michigan City Sanitary District to operate and own a sewer system in your territory. This needs to be an agreement which is going to be prepared by Mr. Attorney Meyer and working with Attorney McDonald to do this, and probably using the 42194 example. I'm hoping that we can get this done so that that agreement could be approved at the January board meeting. That would be great. The other agreement that will be prepared is between Michigan City Sanitary District and the Regional School District, or the Regional School, Renaissance School. And that's basically switching the ownership over to the sewer district and also accepting the cost recovery system. The next agreement will be between Michigan City Sanitary District and East Side Fresh Meat and Produce, which is my client, and to accept the cost recovery system. The cost recovery system is anybody who wants to connect will need to pay Michigan City Sanitary District certain dollars, and then that dollars will be switched, separated between the Renaissance School and also the East Side Produce. Residential connection charge will be $3,100. Commercial connection charge will be $5,800. I'm basically worked with IDEM and NDOT to notify them of the switch in ownership and operations. And IDEM requires a copy of the agreement between LaPorte County Regional District and Michigan City. I hope to see everybody at the January meeting, and we'll put an end to this project, which is going to be very happy with all of us, I'm sure. And I hope everybody a Merry Christmas, and hopefully 2022 will be much better than the last 2 years. Thank you.
Thanks.
Did I do it?
You get good.
Thank you.
2 seconds to spare.
I'm sorry?
2 seconds to spare. Good job.
All right. And I'm going to leave so that I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
Hey,
Thank you.
Jennifer,
Yes.
yeah, Mr. Jerry Jackson is here.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
No, you're good.
All right, any more public comment? Anybody wish to speak? Anybody on Zoom? Going once? 3 times? No? Okay, public comments closed. Reports, Steve Carter, I see you're on there.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So for the month of November, we had on deposit into the toll road, $28,488. Disbursements of $28,959. 63 in interest income for an ending balance of $396,455.12. Of that amount, $145,544.04 is in the Horizon checking, which is your operating fund, and $250,898.42 is in the improvement fund held at the Hoosier Fund.
Mm-hmm.
For Rolling Prairie, they had receipts totaling $3,195. Disbursements of $5,838. Ending balance $32,974.13, all held in the Horizon checking account, which is your operating fund.
Mm-hmm.
Then for claims, claims have a total for your consideration of $44,626.38. I did leave a placeholder on there for the Mission Communications bill, but I didn't put the amount in. Don't know if we need to have discussion on that or not.
Okay.
Or the wetlands delineation bill. I don't remember the name of the company.
Yeah. That's the one that's a bill that from last month that we put a hold on. We wanted more information.
Well, Jerry's talking about the wetland delineation, and I think Steve was talking about the
Mission.
I think the wetland delineation. Jennifer, maybe you can chime in.
Yeah.
But isn't that Cardno? Isn't that part of the
environment, the
Hudson Lake, Saucony Lake environmental piece
PR.
before we get the preliminary engineering report?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Jennifer?
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
This is
Mission
the third invoice from Cardno on Hudson Saucony.
Yeah, Mission is the company that monitors our lift stations, that does the remote monitoring.
Was that? I'm trying to think. What was the?
All right, Jerry, so we didn't pay that last month because we got all of a sudden we got this past due notice, and Steve didn't recall where we had paid it last year or something, and we didn't know where it came from, and so we were trying to figure it out. Did you see it in last month's invoice and stuff?
I didn't notice it last month. I just was looking down the list this month and noticed it.
Man.
Yeah, Jerry, it was from June of last year, so June of 2020, and it was just over $1,000.
That's why we questioned it, because
Yeah.
they billed us 6 months after. That's highly regular.
We're not gonna pay it.
I have
Well,
qualms about
Not just that, but they haven't billed us for 2021.
I don't think we should pay it.
It says $1,126.80. And I guess I'm wondering, and it went straight to the health department, and Julie, I think, sent it over to us. So, I don't know if this is something we paid, the district paid, because I've never seen one before. Or was Asbury paying this through, funneling it through at some point? I'm trying. Well, Steve and I are trying to get a grasp on where this came from and why is it over a year old.
Okay, so the bottom line is, we're not paying it this month, correct?
Well, we didn't pay it last month, and I just don't want to put anything in jeopardy
Yeah.
That's a board
with the
decision.
system.
It's a board
So
decision. I tend to agree with it, that until we get more
better.
clarity, why would we
Yeah.
pay it? And I think that if you approve the claims that Steve prepared,
It's minus that.
it doesn't include
Reflect
that.
it.
So you can just approve
That's
the
where I'm
claim.
going with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you approve the claims ultimately, then you've de facto not approved this one.
Yeah.
And we can deal with it at
It's not
some
on here.
point. If we get a collection letter or we get contacted by them, we can ask for the clarity that we need.
We get our third warning and our.
I haven't seen any
final warning.
wetlands, I haven't seen any wetlands delineation work. Usually that's associated with construction,
Okay.
so, okay.
What?
Well, the wetlands bill we're probably gonna pay.
Well, that has nothing to do with
We're talking
this
about the
invoice we're
mission
talking
communication
about.
bills here.
Oh,
Communication. The one that's Blake's in there.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on that one. The
Yeah.
mission is the,
Good
is the
data.
monitoring,
Yeah.
you know, they do cell monitoring and send alarms and we, I don't know why they're sending us an old bill, I can't tell you that, but that needs to be ongoing and running, otherwise we get
Right.
no alarming from our lift station.
Yeah, Jerry, on the invoice, I pulled it up, it says Hatfield Lift Station and 350 East Lift Station. But this invoice date that they're saying is past due is dated June 8th of 2020.
Yeah,
And we
No
haven't
idea.
seen one for 2021.
And
Yeah,
we got
no
it
idea.
over a year later. That's highly
yeah,
not good business practice. I'd
okay,
say,
well,
at the very least.
someone needs to call and ask what's going on with the bill.
So
Okay,
yeah.
Steve, do you wanna contact them and find out?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, that concludes your report, right, Steve? So you can
yeah,
entertain a motion to approve
The
claims
claims.
as delivered.
So moved.
All right, motion to approve by Jerry. Second.
Second.
Second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Approved. Moving on. Dan, give us your report. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Mitch, there was an Asbury report.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, we can
Sorry,
skip
Dan.
Chris. Chris said there was no report in his email. So, Chris, you got anything to add?
I do have one
Oh,
thing to
yeah.
add. It is important.
All right.
We did develop. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, what report from Asbury? I didn't get any report.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
there was a report that
I'm
came out
giving one now.
last night.
Yeah, it came late. Separate email.
Yeah.
It's in my car.
Yeah.
I didn't.
He
I
said
saw
that
it,
there was
but I
nothing
didn't
new to report in it. That's what I thought. Yeah. But go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Anyways, we did develop this past week. We did develop a leak inside the water plant. It's off of one of the pressure tanks, so it's going to be something more involved than just a little bit of plumbing. I'm going to have to call out Peerless Midwest to come out and reprogram the system so you can take that tank down, make the fix, and then bring it back online.
Is the leak in the tank proper or in the associated piping?
It's off of a sight glass, sight tube.
Okay, that's but like packing on the sight tube. I'm worried about the integrity of the tank itself. Is why I ask.
I don't think there's integrity of the tank is involved.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of
So it's just a matter of having to take the tank out of service, take the piping off, and then put it, fix it, and then put it back online.
Yeah, sight glasses leak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Do I have the approval to go ahead and call Peerless Midwest and?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Chris,
Yep.
make sure you keep me in the loop on this information and when things happen, please, so I can know what's going on.
Right. Well, like I said, it happened this week, and I was going to bring it up at the meeting.
That's
Just to let
okay.
everybody know.
Nope, that's okay. If you can just email me and let me know, and then let me know when Peerless is coming out and what they say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Now.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So update on the Rolling Prairie Phase 2 project. At this point, the project has reached final completion. All punch list items are complete. And we have received sets of as-built prints and substantial completion documents. I have them with me. I was going to give one set to Jerry since he is operating the system. I was going to leave at least one set with Jennifer. Would anyone else like one? I have 3 copies.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can just take 2 copies to Jennifer, and I'll send a link around with an electronic copy of everything on it.
That's what I was gonna ask for, because generally I try not to keep paper copies. I'll stick those in our records drawing, but they're a lot more convenient to call up.
If you have an extra, I got it. I have a room for. I have a little cubby for all my drawings, so I can take one.
All right, so Jennifer, I'll leave you a copy on your desk at the Elkhart office today.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Now, because of that, the project is now eligible for final payment and final waiver of lien. That is present today in the form of Pay App 6. I believe Jennifer attached it to the packets. So
yeah, I got it.
That Pay App is in the amount of $257,714.93. It also includes the full release of contractor's retainage, the 5% construction retainage held throughout the whole project. So that's why it's kind of a larger item, a larger pay app. So I'd like, we've reviewed said pay app and would recommend approval.
There you
go. We had talked about a few extras. Is that appropriate after this side?
I'm getting to that. The use of remaining funds, yep, it'll be a topic here in a second.
Yeah, okay. We met about that.
So do we need to make a motion to?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So pay
I
app
move to
6.
approve the pay app number 6.
Second.
All right, motion and approval, or second by Jerry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's right here.
Yeah, okay, oh, cool, you already got a copy, awesome. So next up on the agenda here, I have use of remaining funds. So I've reached out to SRF and gotten a hold of them to see what they have on their books as far as what we have left in remaining funds. And what I'm showing is, based on their records, when we take this last pay app out, because there's obviously still this to be paid, and there's still some time for JPR and construction admin that's going to be yet to be billed against the SRF loan.
Okay.
We're looking at about $181,000 in remaining funds. Now, I've been looking high and low, and I'm currently unable to determine, is everyone other than JPR and Woodruff and Sons finished billing against the SRF loan? I wouldn't imagine you have anything left, do you? And
nope.
I'll reach out to Sender and make sure they don't have anything. I can't imagine what it would be.
Yeah, I haven't seen Carl in this meeting for over a year.
Yeah. So that being said,
and I think he's all done. He hasn't done anything, and I billed all of his invoices, so he shouldn't have anything.
So I'm thinking this soft costs number that they have is pretty set in stone. It's not going to change from anything other than JPR billing against it. Which
when will we have that? JPR's
final.
The final?
Yeah.
I would think in the next few months. I would think.
How many?
In the next few months.
Got
it. Just as we kind of clean up some of the final post-construction stuff. Looks like we have about 6,000 left in construction admin and post-construction. We actually have 23,000 left in RPR, which is inspection fees, that it doesn't look like we're going to use. So I've talked this over with Ken Jones, and we think we'd be willing to give some of that back to the district to be able to use that as remaining funds. So you'd be looking at somewhere in the range of 200,000 for remaining funds to be used. Now, along with that, we met. Actually, I'll go into this next. If you remember, there was a lengthy period where we had the appeal kind of drag things out, and we incurred some additional costs. I know Barry endured some additional costs, and we kept track of that. To my knowledge, that was billed against the district's operating funds and not against the SRF loan. I believe that's correct. I've spoken to SRF. They have said those are eligible for reimbursement. If we want to pursue taking that out of that 200,000, SRF says that those fees would be eligible for reimbursement.
Oh, then. I
Well, yeah,
thoughts.
It's a question, do we want to
Yeah.
have those reimbursed, or would we rather have, a bigger project?
yeah, I mean, the only thing mine aren't that substantial, and they're always intermixed with what I would call regular district business. However, the fees that we paid out to our litigation counsel in South Bend, which were probably more significant, were absolutely exclusively appeal related. Again, you're right, it's the district's call. Do you pay yourself back 20, 30, 40 grand, whatever that number is? Or is that kind of sunk costs that are just gone and you use the money now for something related to the system?
Right.
That's absolutely your call.
Yeah, I guess my question is, whatever we decide, and then somewhere down the road, this comes up again, and if we do it a certain way, are we handcuffing ourselves so that we have to do it the way we did it this time? Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm certainly, Mark, far from an SRF expert, but I can't imagine that if we chose one way or the other this time, I can't imagine that it would affect our ability to do something different 2-3 years down the line.
No, I don't think it would.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'll get into here what you could get with said $200,000.
Right.
I believe it was last week, we met out at the Travel Plaza wastewater plant, and we discussed potential improvements for the lab building out there. And we looked at replacing cabinets and countertops, getting rid of the hood that's out there, refinishing the floors and the walls, putting in ADA compliance in the restroom, reinstalling new lock sets on doors, things like that, in order to bring that room, that lab building room, up to code to hold public meetings in it. And as a result of that, if the district would want to hold public meetings in that room, there's a set of things that they would have to do regardless, like put in ADA compliant parking out there. And they'd have to partially fence off the plant so that the public can't get into it. Some things like that to sort of tighten up site safety if you're going to have members of the public there. And what I've found is that absent a 20-foot building expansion, if you did everything on our list that we came up with, that would come out at about $175,000. The building expansion would be another $100,000.
Oh,
To
okay.
extend that building out 20 feet would be about another $100,000.
That's where you're kind
What
of.
I'm finding is the bare minimum to make this building eligible to hold meetings would be $100,000. That includes design fees, permitting fees, rebidding this. We'll have to bid this out competitively. That includes all those costs.
Does that include a leaky tank too?
That does not include a leaky tank.
So you said the expansion is 100,000, but the bare minimum to get it up to
Correct.
is also 100,000.
Correct.
So 200. We could get the extension and
So
the
what
minimum
you'd be-
ADA improvements.
So what you'd be forfeiting with some of that is recoding your floor. You'd be forfeiting expanding that gravel parking area.
I'd rather have a bigger building. Personally.
The stuff. So one of the things with expanding that building is they'd have to put a second restroom in it.
I know.
They would absolutely have to do it.
Okay.
You have to have 2 restrooms per code. So maybe that building expansion is something we want to look at.
If it's 200 for getting everything up to ADA, and then another 20-foot expansion, we were going to go out there, I know, but I'll show you.
Yeah, we do. How much time do we have before we make a decision? Do we have a time limit on this 200,000?
It's a good question. I'd have to ask us about that. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I would think that this is a big, short of the project itself and next project, it's a big decision because, it would be nice to have maybe a workshop or have at least a better, full board.
Yep.
Right.
So I think knowing how much time we have to think about it is pretty important.
Well, I know we have at least several months because what this would also entail is we would have to put together a PER amendment a
for
formal
the building?
PER amendment showcasing what
All
we're
the
planning on
review.
doing with figures and everything, and submit that to SRF for review and approval before we could even move forward
Right,
with everything.
okay.
I have
Because
a
basically
question.
what we'd be doing is putting together a second construction project.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question for the board though. So besides our monthly meetings, what would the use of that building be?
Yeah, that's valid.
And I really think that if we can put this towards a new project, I don't know, what are we limited to being able to use this? Can we pay for engineering for a new sewer project or something like that? I don't know.
So I've sort of brought up case by case examples to SRF to ask them about eligibility. They've said that, if it's not infrastructure that's directly benefiting the district or their operations, I don't think they'd go for something for a completely different project. But since this would be upgrades to the building to assist the district in holding their meetings and, your improvements on the lift stations out there, because the lift stations are directly impacted by Rolling Prairie, they deemed all those would be eligible for payment with remaining funds.
But I think probably Dahlia is thinking there's no way we could roll this into
Separate project.
lessen the blow of Saugony Lake, Hudson
I don't
Lake,
think so.
or any other project.
Yeah, that would have been my inclination, because this meeting in the county complex kind of puts us in the center. That we're not just Rolling Prairie, and we've already got a kind of nice facility.
Could we, I know,
So,
yeah, I mean, we could discuss it with the full board, but I know one thing, I had a resident call me Rolling, and the project on Michigan, it didn't pick up a couple other properties. There's a duplex and I think 2 houses on Michigan that stopped short. You know about those, Dan?
2 properties.
2 or 3. One was like a duplex on Michigan Avenue. I don't know, maybe we connect those.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a thing that.
Same projects, yeah.
yeah, I wondered about the commercial properties out on 20.
Yeah.
They're not much of a going concern
Oh.
after the bridge project, but
I know it would look really good, but we need a price. The county's putting in a new EMS and highway building
where's that at?
right across, let's see,
Raises.
yeah, by Jenny Ray's.
Yeah, okay, so we'd be
It-
killing 2 birds with 1 stone if
It's right across Jenny
Yeah.
Ray's, and it would look good for the county, by example, to hook up to sewer and water if it was there in the ground, a pipe.
Do you think there's some sort of pump station out there?
It's a doable. We look at the
Yeah, it
distance.
could be low pressure, it could be.
I can
Yeah.
tell you right now, a pump station is gonna completely eat up
Wipe,
the 2.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Easy.
I don't know the distance either. I think it's pretty far.
There was something brought up, like a workshop. Is this something that we should try to schedule and then do a brainstorming about how we want to do it?
Now that we've
Of course,
put some
getting
costs
you
together.
involved
Yeah.
and the
I
whole
agree.
board. And that's up to a
You
board.
probably, and people that haven't been out there should probably come, out to the actual building and look and get an idea from it.
And then I can help you.
Move all
Yeah.
those papers that are in the
Yeah.
health department.
All right.
I have another question too. So
Yeah.
we can reimburse ourselves for the legal fees and then we can use that money for our next project. You know what I'm saying? Like
We have to decide.
That'd be one way.
then that would be
to
one
keep
way of
hold
using some of it for our next project. And then the other ones to hook up as many as we can, on this one area that seems to be a little shorted.
Yeah, I'd rather just dump the whole thing in our capital fund, but I know that's not an
Right,
option.
but I mean, we can reimburse the legal fees. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
True.
Yeah, we could do that too. I guess, yeah, we need the whole board and have, workshop probably be a good one because it seems like a lot of ways we go on this. And probably, definitely, that makes the most sense.
Jennifer, are you available to maybe schedule a workshop for us?
And I would think you're thinking January. I mean,
Yeah,
can't imagine we're gonna have any luck in the next 2-3 weeks.
Not on the 24th.
Yes, I can do
Probably
that
not.
and schedule a workshop.
Or 31st.
sometime in January before the next meeting.
Yep, we can do that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right.
Does that conclude your report there then?
No, I got a little bit more.
Okay.
Not much. Regarding the asset management plan for the project, if you remember, SRF requires we have an asset management plan set up before the final draw on the loan, which would be after all this use of remaining fund stuff is even constructed.
Right, okay.
Josh Wyman in our South Bend office has been working on that for us. He's let me know he'll be finishing up inventorying the system at the beginning part of next week. He's going to be reaching out to both Jerry and Chris regarding doing criticality of the system items, basically giving them a score of 1 to 5 on how critical they are if they fail and what the condition of them is and things like that. He'll be reaching out to you sometime in the near future here to discuss that with you.
Is he covering the water system too?
Yes. I believe he
Okay.
is.
All the assets, right?
Okay, because that wasn't part of the SRF loan, but it needs to be in the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I believe it's all district assets.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
So following our involvement with it, once we've kind of put those spreadsheets together and build that asset management plan, it actually has to go to sender for the completion of the document. There's some managerial and accounting sections at the end. They sort of do a review of it, write their own section, then it's submitted to SRF. So once Josh is done with it, we'll be submitting it to sender for them to take a look.
Will this thing generate work orders? Will this thing generate, report this is at its end of life? We need to think about replacement. What are we going to get out of it?
So does the thing allows you to sort of plan ahead and create a sinking fund for, that's basically the main purpose of this thing is to assist you guys in how much do we actually need to put into a sinking fund.
So it'll keep track of capital assets and do depreciation and all that?
That's the idea.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Then final item with the Hudson Saugony Lake PER, we have put some finishing touches on the report, but we want to make sure that we get a third party's review of this thing just to make sure our costs are squared away before we present it to you guys. In fact,
You just gotta bump it up 30% for inflation.
Yeah, the COVID 30%.
That's what I do on my road projects.
COVID 30%.
Yeah,
there we go. In fact, I'm meeting with the third party reviewer out at the plant later this afternoon. So we'll be prepared to present that at the January meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that would conclude it. So if we can set up a meeting sometime in early January or something like that to sort of discuss our remaining funds options and pick a plan moving forward.
Okay, sounds good to me, Dan.
Sounds good.
Hey, Dan, as this guy is talking to Jerry and Chris, and if he evaluates piece equipment X, and it's gonna go out in the next few months or so, could you utilize part of the 200,000 for that?
That's a good idea.
Right.
And I don't think it even necessarily needs to be identified in the asset management plan as needing replaced. If it's a,
I'm just trying to figure out how all this all works as I'm trying to put the Jenga together.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I appreciate it, Dan.
All right, thanks.
Have a good
Thank
Christmas. All right. Well, I guess that takes us to new business. Meeting dates, third Thursday every month, 2022. I think we're all Dahlia had a conflict.
Dahlia has a conflict for next year.
Every other
So
month,
we need to
yeah.
discuss this every other month, but I've already scheduled for the third Thursday of every month. So we need to know, because this room isn't easy to reserve. It has a lot of previous stuff, so we need to discuss how you want to do this.
Dahlia, if we move the meeting an hour one way or the other, does that help?
It would have to be later and not earlier, because I have an 8 to 10 at least commitment.
Okay.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean I
probably
can
like
get the
11 then.
room, so I have to check.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well,
The
Jennifer.
president brings lunch if we.
Yeah. Jennifer, this is
President
Mark.
got raised for what?
If we're gonna back into this, shouldn't we find out some dates that are available and then
Right.
maybe try to find something for the third Thursday, but maybe later in the day and see if this place is available first?
Is that what you want to do? That's up to you guys, so you can let me know.
Throw out what everybody wants.
Or we go to that crazy idea we had, 4 o'clock.
No.
After the county, and more public gets involved, then, potentially more. But
Well, Yeah, you also have to consider the change to any public members who come here frequently and or Chris or Steve. In terms of meeting rooms, there may also be the potential that not that it's more convenient for me, probably Dahlia, but not necessarily all you guys, but at some point, there is a flex room in the new renovated Michigan City courthouse that was originally going to be a courtroom that's now, it's probably this space. It's not, they're not doing anything in terms of build out necessarily with it, but I'm just saying, I wonder if that's going to free up other areas for other boards, whether, this room isn't just used by us, it's used by the commissioners, the council.
Quite a few people.
So, everybody.
Everything.
And so I just wonder if at some point getting a reservation here may get a little easier if people start to and there's no talk, by the way, other than by me, of trying to utilize that room, but it seems like wouldn't be the worst idea to have the county have another public space to hold meetings.
Yeah.
Because you're right, it's always tough to get this room.
Yeah. So when would you be available on Thursday after your first meeting?
Probably 10:30, 11 if it's here, because, I'm gonna be meeting in Michigan City.
So did you hear that, Jennifer, from 11 o'clock on?
Okay, so check and see if we can get it at 11 instead of 9. Is that what I'm hearing? Will that work?
Or 1 or
Or after, yeah.
11 or 1? How about that?
Are you okay with that? It'll work for me. I'll try to make anything work personally. So.
I-
The only
that-
guy right now is at 3 o'clock on Thursdays.
3 o'clock.
We also used to
by
meet,
then?
I think we used to meet not the third Thursday, I think originally it was
first.
like
We met
first or
first
second,
at one time.
I'm willing to
First
change
Thursday.
that as well.
So
The
so when
Thursday
I'm-
morning is a good slot. Maybe it's a question of instead of the third, it was the
First.
We moved it to the third, I think, because during
We moved
either.
it.
I know we were waiting for different. I know there was a specific reason. It wasn't so much based on all of our schedules.
No, guys, we moved it because it
Accounting,
was the
maybe?
first Thursday, and that gives me time to get information and get you guys the packets, and Steve to get the information, and people to get the reports to us.
So Jennifer, would the second be a burden, or versus like the fourth?
The rooms were not available.
Oh,
Remember, I tried, and there was no rooms
That's what I'm
available.
saying.
and that applied to the fourth too.
I don't remember
The
now.
fourth-
I have to go back and
The
look.
fourth
but-
Thursday maybe.
Well, then
Top of my
we're,
head,
then
the
we're
fourth
looking
is.
at, the problem with that is all of our invoices will be paid almost 60 days behind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Move it back.
we'll be
Like, move that
paying
1 week.
November invoices at the end of December.
Does anyone have a problem of
Same
the
day.
third Thursday?
No.
Let's see if they can do the 11 or 1 o'clock, and then if you can't, put out some other dates.
And if not,
Well-
we can't make it work. We'll just have our important meetings when Dahlia can attend in between or other.
Well,
So January's fine, I'm starting in February with my.
yeah. So in January maybe there's more board members present because we make the change, and it's great for Dahlia, but then maybe Marcy
Yeah, we need-
or John or.
We need
Okay,
to
so you're
talk to everyone.
good, you're good in January, but we need to, in the
February.
meantime,
okay, we'll figure it
Jennifer,
out
can
by
you
then.
find out
Yeah.
what 11 and 1 o'clock looks like on the third Thursday, and I guess we'll have to
Figure it out.
Yeah.
figure
Next
that
meeting.
out at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, and then I'll check and see if between 11 and 1, and if there's any other days or times.
Okay.
But as of now, January 20th will be the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
For consistency reasons, for scheduling for the public and everything else, it just makes sense if you have one consistent time frame, like the third Thursday at 9 a.m. It just makes it easier for everyone.
Yep. Plus, that's what you advertised, and it's on the website too. I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we can advertise it, it's out there, and it's just easier.
Yeah.
Is it easier if it's the same day or the same day and the same time is what you're telling me?
I think for the public's sake, we need to keep it the
Same time.
same date and same time, Mark.
Okay,
I do.
all right.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree,
Yeah, I agree.
because when you keep changing it, just like Alco, they had a hard time when we changed it because it didn't get changed on the official LaPorte County website, but we had it on the sewer district website, so they kept referencing the other website and kept coming and wanting to record on that date instead of when we had changed it. So people get confused when it's not consistent, and we don't want to keep going back and forth and making changes.
Okay.
All right. We'll take care of that then in next meeting. We'll look that up and see if it works. And otherwise, old business, Hudson Saugony PR, Dan already took care of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everyone.
holidays, Merry Christmas.